Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard Count. Today, we got Brandon and me, Kate and Brandon and me. We are a team. We are the Hard Count. We are so back. We are live from here in Dallas, and we just had some pretty serious drop. Brandon, I want you to announce these top 4 seeds into the college football playoffs. Selection Sunday showed up today at 11 a.m., and we've heard some controversial takes, some non-controversial takes. Brandon, what are the 4 seeds that came in today?
Well, if you live under a rock and you don't know any of the seeds yet, okay? Let me tell you. Number 1, none other than Michigan. The University of Michigan claimed the number 1 spot by beating Iowa in a lousy Big Ten championship game, but it is what it is. Georgia fell out of that number 1 spot. Number 2 is none other than the Washington Huskies. Washington Huskies locking up that number 2 spot after their Pac-12 championship win over a very impressive Oregon team. And then you have number 3, coming in number 3, Big 12 champions, hook 'em horns, out of our home state, the Texas Longhorns, and Quinn Ewers are making their appearance in top 3. And then number 4 is the shock to everybody, Alabama. Roll Tide. They jumped in to the top 4 seed because of that game they played last night against Georgia, where they kind of impressed them. Cade, what do you say about, the snubs of Georgia and the fans of, different teams like Florida State and Georgia were the first 2 teams out at 5 and 6, and potentially even the team after that? Cade, what do you say?
Yeah. So we've had a lot of snubs this year, right, guys? This was the first time the committee was actually on pins and needles, did not know what to do, because the 4 playoff system, while fun, was flawed, because the whole idea of it is the best 4 teams get in. The best 4 does not mean the best resume, and not always have they you're just counting 4. Not always have they put in the best 4. They've kind of gone off resume, which I understand. They want to keep it fair. Like, in all fairness, Florida State, you go undefeated, you win every single game, and your quarterback gets hurt. What more could you have done? And you won your championship. There's nothing else you could have done. That's a different conversation. We'll start there in a second. Let's start with the biggest snub by far, Georgia. SEC, not champion, but they went through every single team this year. They had ranked wins over Missouri at 9, Ole Miss at 11, at Tennessee at 21, and wins over bowl-eligible teams as in Kentucky, Auburn, and at Georgia Tech. They did have 1 loss on the entire season, guys. You know where it was? By 3 points at a neutral field against Alabama. That was it. Besides that, they were flawless all year, and they will not be in the playoffs because of that. This is going to be one of the biggest snubs of all time. And, Georgia fans look back on this, I'm sure they're furious, and I understand. And I'm personally happy that Texas got in, because that was going to be the person that got kicked out if this didn't happen, because Bama deserved to get in. But I believe the committee made the right choice here. But this is why the 12 team is going to be perfect. And for everyone saying it's too much, no, it makes conference championships matter, right? It obviously mattered this weekend because one team got kicked out of the SEC. Usually both get in. Now, the winner of the SEC championship will get a whole bye week, like Bama would have got a bye week, and Georgia still has a chance to play against a really good team in those last remaining 8 teams and fight their way back into the championship conversation. Now, Brandon, that was my thought on Georgia and Florida State, but there's an argument for also Ohio State, who had a pretty dang good year and just lost 1 game as well and had really nothing else they could do about it going into the postseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Ohio State, is also there to, in the snub category. Obviously, they weren't in the same boat as Georgia and Florida State, because Florida State obviously won their championship. And then Georgia, of course, remained undefeated until that very last second of the game, where they took down, or when they got taken down by Alabama. So it's a little different, but Ohio State lost to the number 1 seed in the college football playoffs at the moment. And then they didn't get a chance because because of the Big Ten, divisions that are split up. Iowa is like the only person in the West or whatever is the East that plays for them, because they actually have like a comparable defense and recruits, and nobody else competes with them. And then on the other side, you have teams like Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State all playing for that 1 position in the Big Ten championship. So if you combine those divisions and you make it the best of the best of the Big Ten, where Michigan might play Ohio State once again, and Ohio State can take them down in a neutral field, then that's when it raises questions, who really is the best team in the Big Ten? Is it Michigan that took them down in the regular season, or is it the team that went down, or the team that went down to Indianapolis and took down Michigan. Who knows?
Yep.
But that's why we bring up the 12-team league or the 12-team bracket, right? Because there's teams that are red hot, right? Because there's the Liberty Flames, or is it?
Flames. Go Flames, baby.
I mean, yeah, they're champions, and they have like a New Year's Six bowl against Oregon. So I mean, they're red hot, and if you put them together in a 12-team league and they upset Oregon, you got your Cinderella story right there, like you have in the Final Four when who is it? Like I don't know who's the Final Four.
I know you're talking about. There's a team from 2 years ago, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Sister Jean or something like that. But yeah, like the Cinderella story where they made it to like the Elite Eight or something, and they were like the 16th seed. You can have things like that, and then not only that, but you have the home field advantage. With the
game changer, Brandon.
That's crazy.
Absolute game changer.
That's crazy. Ticket sales off the charts. Everything. Absolutely insane. Can you imagine going to Michigan State or Michigan game at their house? And
don't even get me started.
It's Georgia going to like Michigan or something at their house or something like that, or like Oregon coming to there. Crazy, insane.
And to give you guys even a more realistic.
Oh,
what were you saying, sir?
No, I was saying, don't you have that beautiful?
Yeah.
graphic?
To give y'all a feeling of what these game day experiences would be like. Just imagine, it's going to be cold. I hope y'all understand. The SEC has great tailgating, right? The Midwest, they do it right. It's cold. There's some Fireball out there. There's lots of brewskis. And, of course, lots of stuff and good food getting cooked. This is what a top 12 college football playoff would look like. Look at these bye weeks, 1, 3, 2, and 4. And these are the games we got. And these are home field advantage games. This first round is all at the house. This would be at Ohio State against Penn State. That game, crazy. Oh my, it'd be a wild, the tailgating experience. Everyone's going to want to go to that. You got Georgia and Ole Miss. So even better, another in-conference game. Georgia's not out the whole game. Like they still got a shot at the whole thing, and they get to go against a familiar foe who I believe they beat. Let's take a look here. I believe they beat. Yeah, they beat him earlier in the season, so they get a rematch. Mm-hmm. That's pretty sweet, just like Ohio State does. And you got Florida State Liberty, who, like Brandon said, is red hot. And I know Florida State's struggling because they've had some quarterback woes, but could they figure it out and get one step farther to that championship? We could find out. And you got Oregon and Mississippi. Missouri. Gee, good Lord. Oregon and Missouri. But these would all be great games, guys. And they're all home field advantage. It would just be a true game changer. And honestly, this is where the Cinderella stories happen, like Brandon said. I'm a big fan of this. Anybody doesn't like a little bit of chaos and excitement in their lives. And this is perfect. This makes college football more fun and more rewarding, I believe. I think it makes those conference championships matter. Brandon, I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel like there's a place where... I'm trying to word this right. Let's go back from the 12. Do you have something to say on the 12 team? I was going to bounce back real quick to the regular.
I was just gonna. I was gonna even like Liberty not being in there. If you want to put in like OU and have a team that's beaten a team like Texas, that's in there. That's like a great white shark in the water in the pool, baby. I mean, that team can come in and be angry and come in. They can find themselves in the championship and they are ranked 11 or 12. So, I mean, it's just crazy to think about the scenarios that could happen with that 12-team league.
Oh, for sure. No, I absolutely love it. Now, Brandon, we're going to bounce back to reality real quick and then wrap this up. I have one question for you. Wow, we do love Texas, right? And we are absolutely huge fans. There is an argument that a Georgia team that was perfect all year besides 3 points at a neutral site against the best team, the hottest team, in my opinion, in the nation right now, Bama, playing out of their mind. It took them a minute to get there, but obviously they're playing their best ball, taking on number one. Do they have a real reason to get over Texas? Because I'm going to break this down to you. Actually, do you have the stats pulled up? Because I knew you could just talk about it. Do you have the ESPN 700 on Texas resume?
Yeah, I have it.
I think Georgia's resume is very arguable, possibly better than Texas's year, and they should have gotten in. What do you say to that?
Oh God. I mean, That was like the big question. We were texting about it in our group chats, and we were like, what do we do? Because there's Georgia, and then there's Texas, and then there's Florida State. Because we were just going back and forth, and you could recreate this bracket 8 times over with different teams in it and see, different outcomes. So, I mean, Georgia has the only loss is to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Texas's only loss is to Oklahoma. in both neutral fields. Now,
Yep.
Texas did come in at week 2 or 3 and beat Alabama when they were ranked like, I don't know, like 4 or 2 or 3. So that was impressive. And not only do I think, like, why I think Texas deserves it a little bit more than Georgia was just because, I mean, if you're going to steamroll all these teams and be so good and good, like, you know, day in and day out, be certified 1 or 2, going back and forth in Michigan and stuff like that, I mean, you got to win your championship. You got to put Alabama away, I think, if you're going to, like, cement yourself as a number 1. And I'm not saying they're not belonging in the top 4. I think it's silly, but, like, I think you got to win that game, especially if you're trying to make the college football playoffs. I think Texas did it when they beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. If it was in Austin, I think it's a little bit different of a story, a tad bit.
Yeah.
But considering they went into Tuscaloosa, complete underdogs, and beat the brakes off of them, I mean, I think it was very impressive that Texas deserved to be in. But then again, I can definitely see why Georgia needs to be into the college football playoffs. I can definitely see the argument and the anger that they have. Okay,
All right. Good
what
stuff.
is your opinion on it?
Dude, you said it perfect. Like, you got to win it all. Like, championship football is the best. That is, you're on the stage, you want to prove it, that is the time. Obviously, they got snubbed. What are you going to do? I think Texas did earn it, like you said. They went into their house, not a neutral site, into their house and beat the brakes off them. That is a statement win, whether it's in the early season or not. Every game matters, and it showed it right there. And I respect the committee for putting Texas in. That is all I have to say, Brandon. Do you have anything else to say?
That's it.
All right, guys.
Got.
Thank you so much for watching today. Appreciate you guys more than you know. If you have watched us before or not yet, we have us. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and one more, Brandon. What's that called?
X
and Threads. We got it all, baby. Y'all have a great day. Appreciate you more than you know. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. If you didn't like this video, comment and tell us below. And if you really like this video, subscribe. We appreciate all y'all's support. Have a great day. Peace.